Joining us now, Curtis Ellis, Senior Policy Advisor with America First Policies. Curtis, also on the transition team, was a former senior staff member of the Department of Labor and also an integral part of the Trump campaign in communications on 2016. And he's joining us now. Curtis Ellis, great to have you, man.
Hey, it's great to be here. Great to be here. I am in Goochland. My voice is being heard in Goochland. I'm so excited about that.
Goochland, that's right. Goochland, West Henrico, Short Pump, Farmville. Short Pump by the Short Pump Mall, all the way down to Charlottesville.
Yay.
So we have a new voice here. We're excited about it. Got a lot of good feedback. We did our official rollout yesterday, put the press release out and all that, so we're excited about it. Thanks for tuning us in. Curtis Ellis, this is our first conversation since the midterms. I'm still really not recovered. Since the midterms.
Yeah, I'm still catching up on my sleep. I was up till like 4 in the morning that night.
Same here. And then I got up at 5, so I had like an hour, and I've never really recovered.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're getting a little older, Curtis, you and I. A little longer in the tooth. You don't bounce back the way you did back in the day. But So what's your take?
Well, a couple of things that have occurred to me especially now watching this recount stuff going on in Florida and what happened in Arizona and elsewhere. This is sort of a 30,000-foot view here. I am having real problems, and I never thought I'd say this because I used to be on the other side of this issue. I'm having real problems and real concerns with the whole early voting, vote by mail, vote by email, phone it in 3 weeks ahead of time, 2 days afterwards, whatever kind of voting system that we've developed since 2000. When I worked in the New York State Senate, we passed legislation allowing for absentee voting for no reason at all. Used to be you had to be out of town. You had to tell people you were going to be out of town, or you were in the hospital and sick, or in the hospital because you just like to be there, whatever. You had to have a doctor's note to get an absentee ballot and vote ahead of time. We passed laws that basically said you don't need a doctor's note anymore. Just go. Anybody you request a ballot can get one. And that's one of the stricter. New York State still has some of the strictest voting laws in the country. Rest of the country, they've got now early voting. Early voting starts a month ahead of time, 3 weeks ahead of time, 2 weeks ahead of time. You can vote by mail if the ballots come in up to now in Florida. It says it has to be received by Election Day, but now they're suing to have 2 days after Election Day. If it was postmarked on Election Day, we should count the vote. I just think it's turning into a mess. They can't even, as we're seeing in Florida, they can't even count the votes or keep track of people who actually vote in voting machines on Election Day. All of this early voting and weirdo voting, it just opens up pathways to voter fraud. And let's be honest here, folks. Voter fraud happens. When you have that much at stake, that much power, and that much money, because we're talking about who gets to control billions and billions and actually trillions of dollars in federal budgets. There's a lot at stake here. The stakes are pretty high, and somebody's going to figure out a way to count the cards or to mark the deck or to do anything they can to get a hold of the prize money. So Lyndon Johnson cheated every election he was ever involved in, except for probably 1964 when he won in a huge landslide. But every election before that he was ever involved in, he either stole or bought or did something. And God bless him. That's the way this thing works. I'm not saying we should get rid of elections. I'm just saying we need to have pretty strict control. What if you voted for somebody 3 weeks ahead of time, and then a week ahead of time you find out the guy was a bank robber, a felon, a murderer? You can't take your vote back, right? So on the big picture, I'm starting to have real problems. We even considered in New York, and it's out there, go look, you see it out there, this idea of universal registration. Everybody, as soon as they're born, they're registered to vote, or when they reach 18. And now when you get a driver's license, you're automatically registered to vote. Motor voter, it's called. I'm sorry. This just starts to debase and the whole election process. And I think it's a step on the way to saying, well, we don't really need elections anyway. Or the elections just become advisory. The whole thing's just going to become a sham. I'm sorry. We should go back to you vote on Election Day. If you're going to be out of town, okay, you can vote absentee and you can vote by mail. It's got to be received by Election Day. It's got to be opened, received by 7 p.m. when the polls close. And hire a bunch of people to do it. Hire people to count the votes. Get rid of these ridiculous electronic machines that don't even have paper trails. I'm sorry. So that's my view on that. Next question.
Well, that's not going to happen, right? I mean, this early voting thing is out of the bag. It's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
I mean,
we're going to end up
the horse is out of the barn.
Soon we're going to do voting by email. There'll be an app to vote. I mean,
the whole thing will be crooked.
Because the abuse is going to be there, so you're not going to do anything about this. So what Republicans have to do is take advantage of it, because you're never going to change it. I get where you're coming from, but that cat's out of the bag. That'll never get back in. And as more people get like I voted now early the last 5 cycles of the last.
I voted absentee. I was actually out of town on Election Day, so I had to. So
I think since the first time I voted, I mean, in my life, I voted legit absentee, right, where you mail it in, you get the ballot, legit. But now, since 2012, I vote early just because it's convenient. So when I'm in the area, I'll stop in and vote and leave. Yeah. And it's like the first week it opens, I'll just get it over with. I pretty much know who I'm going to vote for anyway. So it becomes convenient. And, now I've got my mother doing it, right? Now I'm taking her with me early voting. So
and she tells you how to vote. That's good,
well,
John.
Yeah, she did.
That's very nice.
My mother, she's 90, but she's going to vote for whoever the hell she wants. I couldn't influence her. I mean, all she said to me when I took her there, she saw the ballot. She's like, "Where's Trump's name here?" He's not up.
Yeah, you're right. It's never going to happen. So we just have to keep better track of it all.
All right. So let's get to
this crooked vote counter down there in Florida is Brenda Snipes. What a disaster.
So let's get to your analysis of the results.
Well, I think a lot of these people, first of all, the thing that's being overlooked in the media is like Dave Bratt. I love Dave Bratt. He was redistricted. They took away half of his voters. He was running in a different district. It's not like there was a rejection of the Trump platform or the Trump agenda. No. He was all the Republicans were taken out of his district. He was dumped into a new district with a bunch of weirdo voters.
Well, that's
I
not
think
accurate.
A lot of these candidates ran away from Trump. Martha McSally in Florida, she was a never-Trumper. I was talking to people in Arizona, and he was telling me that the Arizona voters are still shell-shocked from McCain. They disliked McCain. They're tired of these McPublicans that aren't really Republicans, that don't like Trump, and they saw McSally as another McCain. And so a lot of them sat on their hands. She could not energize the voters. So I think that this was a rejection of Republicans that reject Donald Trump. What did Congress do? Did Congress build a wall? Did Congress fund a wall? Did Congress foursquare get behind the immigration agenda, immigration reform that Trump ran on? Did they get behind his economic nationalist trade policy? No, you heard all this hemming and hawing. You had Paul Ryan waste a year on health care reform that never happened, and he ended up giving Democrats the issue that they used to beat Republicans over the head, and then he retires. I mean, thanks, Paul. Great job.
I agree with that. And it was the president never wanted to lead with health care and repeal and replace because he never thought – he was shocked to find out they never had a plan. And he wanted to lead with tax cuts, and Paul Ryan talked him out of it because, these guys are supposed to be the legislative experts. And that's what really cost us the House, as far as I'm concerned. It was Paul Ryan. You know what? Here's the good news, okay? So let's just talk John Curtis. We're with Curtis Ellis, Senior Advisor for America First Policies. For more information, go to americafirstpolicies.org. Curtis and I have been fighting these battles for how many years, Curtis? 35 or something? So we go back a long way. So let's just talk here amongst ourselves with everybody tuned in. So here's my assessment, okay? They're going to win however many seats they win. They're still hanging in the balance. It looks like they're going to have a House seat majority of 12, right? 17 seats that the Democrats won are congressional districts that Donald Trump carried in 2016. 17 of them, right? They're going to win the overwhelming majority of those back when the president is on the ballot.
Right.
So you only need 12. There's 17 of them that if they win 15 of the 17 or 14 of the 17, they're going to gain control back. That's just Trump's districts. Now, there's other districts that Trump didn't carry that are evenly split that the Democrat won in the off here, where a good Republican candidate is going to win that right back. There's two of them right here in Virginia, right, that I think they're going to win at least one of these seats back, probably two of them. So the president is looking good there. He did win Ohio. He did win Florida. The Republicans got a bigger vote count in Pennsylvania than the liberals will admit on CNN. They were within 2.5% of, if you take all the Republican votes in Pennsylvania and all the Dem votes, they were within 2.5. He's got a shot to win that again. And so the big states he won. And so, yes, the Democrats made some gains. They're not going to regain the Senate. We've got 53 seats. Plus, Jeff Sessions is going to run in 2020. He's going to beat Doug Jones. That's 54. There's no blue states with red senators in them. So here's the way I look at it. Trump is going to win in 2020. They're going to win back the House. They're going to keep the Senate. And guess what? All of the never-Trumpers have been pushed out of the system. They're all gone.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We have cleansed the voters have cleansed the party of the no good nicks. They're gone. They're gone. And President Trump hit it right on the head in his press conference, where Mia Love never showed him love. She's gone. And he went down the list. The message is clear. The voters of America want Trump Republicans. They want Trump voters. Trump supporters. They want people who support the president's agenda. And if you're not in line with that, become a Democrat. Okay? Very simple.
Well, that's it. I mean, and at the press conference on Wednesday that I was at a week ago, he did call out Mia Love. He called out Barbara Comstock in Northern Virginia, basically ended her career. I mean, she can't run for anything. As long as Donald Trump is president, she's out. She can't win. She can't get nominated. I mean, he called her out. It was too bad because she could have had a future. But if he wins again in 2020, she can't get nominated for anything. Done.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Yeah, brutal. I mean, he didn't mince words.
But look, folks, that's the way it is, and I wish the Republican Party had woken up to that in November of 2016, but they didn't. But now it's become very clear, and you're exactly right. This Democratic House is going to be very short-lived. And already you're seeing what it's going to be about. 85 investigations. They're going to investigate everything. They're going to investigate. They want to see his tax returns. Why do they want to see his tax returns? On what legal premise are they looking to see his tax returns? They want to look through his underwear drawer. They want to see if his socks are properly matched. They're going to subpoena his sock drawer. And nowhere have you heard, I haven't heard one word yet about what the Democrats propose to do to make my life better or to make your listeners' life better. All I hear is Jerry Nadler wants to talk to the new acting attorney general. He wants to investigate this one. He wants to investigate that. Adam Schiff wants to investigate the next thing. And this is a joke.
Well, Now they have to legislate, but they're not going to do that, Curtis. They want to impeach, they want to investigate, and they want to wreak havoc. That's basically what it is. And so now they have to actually see if they can get something done. I hope the president goes to them with an infrastructure bill immediately, see if he can get some action on that. They're probably not going to want to work with him because their base just wants them to obstruct and hate on Trump. So I don't see how they're going to be able to work with him. They're not going to get anything done. And I'm telling you, Curtis, it's rent a speaker. She's going to be out in 2020. We're going to have a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and Trump is going to get reelected. I don't have any doubt in my mind. What say you?
President Trump ought to come to them, ought to present an infrastructure bill on Monday.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Monday after. Not even wait to Monday after election. He ought to present an infrastructure bill the day before the new majority takes office.
Yeah, the lame duck.
Yep, and see if they work with him on it. Which I agree with you, they won't.
Yeah,
and expose them for what they are, which are frauds.
Yep, I got to take off. Curtis Ellis will end on that. Frauds. Curtis Ellis says, Dems, frauds.